Everyone's racing to build AGI, but the real bottleneck isn't the chips. It's lithium, the quiet heartbeat of every battery that powers AI. And guess who refines nearly 70% of it? China refines 70% of the world's lithium. If China controls the lithium, so why doesn't China win this race by default? And America?
US produce lithium less than 4%. You have to produce at least metric ton of lithium per year to meet one rack of battery capacity for 5G. It's impossible to meet the demand from the existing resources. That's why they should look into to produce 1 metric ton lithium carbonate equivalent, you need about 30,000 gallons of fresh water.
500,000 gallons just for 1 metric ton? Multiply that by the lithium needed to power AI data centers. Lithium ion battery demand in data centers 10% in 2020, 35% today, 65% by 2030. Lead acid batteries 40% market share won't last as AI demands more power density. And even if we fix the lithium crunch, quantum computing, the next frontier, could trigger a whole new material crisis.
For quantum computing, you need the rare earth elements. So that means we are opening another supply chain bottleneck. India has the deposit of rare earth elements.
In 2027, the real emergency that no one's talking about could be our energy grid itself. That's Hemali Rathnayake, professor at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro and co-founder of Minerva Lithium. With per capita lithium usage climbing toward 100 kgs, she is pioneering sustainable lithium extraction in the US to address the energy storage bottleneck that power AI at scale. Let's explore lithium, quantum computing, and AI-driven materials discovery with our expert. Hello and welcome, Hemali, to On Air with Aashka. Let's dive right into the questions. Every AI lab is racing towards building AGI, and the real bottleneck isn't the chips or even the data centers, it's lithium. Because to power AI at scale, we need massive battery storage, and that comes from lithium. China refines 70% of the world's lithium, so they control the entire supply chain from mining to battery grade material. Energy without storage is useless. As per Mark Zuckerberg, energy might be a bottleneck to the current AI advancement. Here's the question, like, if China controls the lithium that powers batteries, that stores energy, that runs AI, so why doesn't China win this race by default?
So it is because China can control the supply chain, that production of lithium. But is China is controlling the battery technology and energy storage technology. So most of the successful energy storage technologies and battery technologies lies in within US and the Europe. So of course that these countries, Europe and US, mainly that's we facing in the supply chain and in the lithium, but the battery technologies relies in the within across the other continents. So because of that, China cannot be the lead in the AI storage in the market.
Okay. So, like, can you elaborate more on the battery technology? What do you mean by battery
Yes.
technology?
So let's take, for example, Tesla EV battery technology. So that technology is developed in US. Of course, China has a current couple of battery technologies. For example, away from lithium, as a sodium ion battery technology. That's where they are leading for most of the EV. For example, BYD technology. And but the lithium battery technology is leading country is US. So because of that, so China, even though China has the lithium, so they don't have a technology to develop battery production over there alone.
Okay. Got it. But like, Does US also have the mining capabilities and the extraction and everything along with the technology, or is it dependent on
That
other?
that's where the bottleneck in US
Okay.
and the supply chain bottleneck US is facing because domestic production of these raw materials are minimum. So
Okay.
I would say as US produce lithium less than 4%
Less than 4%.
per person versus China is the lead in lithium production over 70%.
Uh,
So that's the bottleneck. So, but in that's why it's a one country maybe cannot lead in the AI race and for the storage. So I think most of the both countries or the whole continents and supposed to come together and then work together to solve the supply chain challenges.
Okay, okay, okay. Got it, got it. So you mentioned the bottleneck in the US. So you have a company in the US called Minerva Lithium. It's on a mission to transform how we source one of the world's most critical clean energy materials, that is lithium. So can you explain briefly what are the different ways of lithium extraction and how is your way more sustainable than others?
Yeah. So the lithium comes with different feedstock. The main feedstock lithium is coming from hard rock. That's the mining from hard rock. And US hold some of the hard rock mining, for example, North Dakota and especially North Carolina. So that's the major resource lithium mine in US currently. But other than that, the lithium can also extract from brine. So, for example, salt lake brine, and also there's some of the fracking produced brine. So, those are the two methods that we can refine, get the lithium out. However, in the current lithium mining for the hard rock or the brine, it takes time. For example, if you put into perspective, so the hard rock mining need a lot of energy. So it is very energy consuming and then environmental impact is high. People hate, right? So and then for brine, so it's a major way producing lithium from brine is solar evaporation. That's take 18 months to 2 years to get the lithium out.
MG. That's a longer time, yeah?
Longer time. So it also include chemical precipitation. So but recently, so people have been developing selective absorption processes. So to get the lithium directly extract from brine, that's called direct lithium extraction. But it's still all these processes has a lot of disadvantages and advantages. But the main disadvantage is any of these processes it's need the energy and the carbon emission is high, and most importantly is the fresh water usage. So for example, put into perspective, you want to produce 1 metric ton lithium carbonate equivalent. For all these processes you need about 30,000 gallon of fresh water.
OMG.
So, where that's where Minerva Lithium plays a role. So the Minerva Lithium nanomosaic technology we developed, it's absorption process, but it work in room temperature. So it is environmentally friendly. You can extract lithium within 48 hours. But this is not exactly the direct lithium extraction. We call it as a passive lithium extraction. What that means is we take the impurities and concentrate the lithium, then there is no use of fresh water, like 30,000 gallons per metric ton. So we cutting down that to 1,000 gallons per metric ton. That's
Oh,
a
that's a
huge
huge, yeah, considerable amount of, yeah, reduction. Yeah, yeah.
reduction, and then we don't have a carbon emission. We don't use the higher energy processes. So That gives us more sustainable, environmentally friendly method to extract lithium from brine resources.
That's interesting. Like literally. So, how is it going right now? Like, what's your business model?
Yes. So, and currently, and we just wrap up our technology showcase last week. That was October 2nd. So we had our technology showcase, and we asked all the leading investors to come in and take a look at our technology. So we are at this stage in the pilot scale. We were able to validate at the pilot scale and with the minimum viable product, our continuous filter process.
Okay.
Now, currently, we are in the seed fundraising stage
Mhm.
for up to 10 million to get into the commercialization by 2027.
Nice, nice, nice. So, the process sounds very exciting and like environment friendly. So, the lithium that is extracted out of this process, is it like direct battery grade lithium, or does it need more processing or something?
Yeah. So the Minerva Lithium technology is from extraction to refine into battery grade. It's a whole supply chain. So what we do is we extract and then we directly refine to battery grade lithium carbonate currently. So our battery grade lithium carbonate purity is 99.95. That's the maximum, that's the normal purity that needed for normal battery. But if you want to get into the EV battery technologies, so you have to reach to the 99.99. So that's purity, for example, Tesla EV batteries using for. So, but general, it's 99.95 is the market available lithium carbonate purity.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you will reach that purity level of batteries too. Yeah. So, from a materials perspective, like if we wanted to flip the 5 gigawatt data center to solar plus storage tomorrow, what's the actual lithium requirement? And is that even physically possible with the current refining capacity that you have or combined technologies have?
The within US or in overseas. And with the current refining technologies, they are traditional technologies, right? So because of that, they need more energy to extract and refine. So because of that, that's where the bottleneck and always that's the challenge. So with the current refining technologies and if we combine these traditional pathways with the innovative technologies like the Minerva lithium technology, so we may able to uh, meet the capacity that needed. However, for if you talk about 5G, so let's perspective, right? So if we put into the perspective, so the for single rack mounted battery for 5G, you need about 4,800 watt hour capacity, battery capacity. So, so what that means is it's basically you have to produce at least 400,000 metric ton of lithium per year to meet at least one rack of battery capacity for 5G.
Oh my God. Yeah. It seems almost impossible to meet the demand. What's your take from the numbers?
So it's impossible to meet the demand from the existing natural resources. That's why, as a scientific community and the industry partners, they should look into recycle.
Mm.
So there are a lot of battery e-waste, but there is no technology at the commercial scale you can extract this critical material from used batteries, recycle batteries. So if we find the path to recycle and extract this, not only lithium,
Yeah.
other materials,
Other
cobalt, nickel,
important materials are also there, right? Yeah.
material, exactly
Yeah.
going into the cathode, and I think we should look into more of the recycle and recovery these critical minerals from recycled batteries.
So, like from your experience or from whatever you have heard, how many efforts are put or research is put into this recyclability? Because I do have some stats on that. The AI companies are upgrading their GPU clusters almost every 24 months as new NVIDIA chips are coming out.
Mhm.
So, there's a tsunami of e waste that is getting created. So, of course, there is a big opportunity to solve this problem. What are the advancement happening there to solve this problem?
Yeah, so the complexity is because when you have the recycled battery, you get this powder that called black mass. So the black mass contain all the anode, cathode, all the mixture of materials. So now you have to extract these minerals purity and take it out from black mass. So there are a couple of industry leading in these black mass technologies and then find to capture this, get this, extract these elements out of black mass. So it's still in the lab scale or the pilot scale in the research
Okay,
and
not at an
R&D
industrial
development.
level.
So and but there are a couple of technologies that people have been successful. That's one is the electrochemical method, separation method. I think that's the one of the technology currently leading that you can take this black mass and extract these critical materials. But Minerva Lithium also be looking into whether we can use our technology combined with electrochemical process to larger production of lithium from this black
Black
mass.
mass, yeah, yeah, that would be revolutionary, like literally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. So, data centers these days are running 24/7, 365 days at 90% plus load factors. But the batteries serve a different role than typical grid storage. So, what makes these data center battery requirements uniquely demanding, from power density to response time to reliability, compared to standard utility scale, or like as you mentioned, the EVs batteries? So, what was the difference there?
So it's the grid capacity, right? So the and you need very large grid capacity for these data centers or the 5G data centers or the AI. So I think that's where the huge problem.
Hmm.
So it's not only these battery technologies needs to be move forward and advance, but the grid capacity, in terms of the grid capacity, we need to advance in the grid capacity to reach it to where we wanted to be with the data centers and use. So that's the huge bottleneck in grid capacity.
So, like that. So, as per what you are saying, like that is not a problem to be solved by the battery technology, but it is a problem to be solved by the grid capacities and everything that is considered, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, grid capacity and the infrastructure needs to be go side by side. And that's why, so there are complexity, not only the battery supply chain, and then it's a manufacturing capability, infrastructure, grid resilience, and all those needs to, you need to work alone with all those side by side to reach where we wanted to be, where this trend in AI or the 5G capacity. It's
Yeah.
eventually energy density. So
Yes, 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 yes. So, yeah, Google DeepMind claims that AI is gonna revolutionize the materials discovery. Like on Google DeepMind's podcast itself, I heard pushmeet kohli talk about 2 millions of materials that AI has predicted could be stable. Before it was something 20,000 materials that we as humans were able to find out to be stable, but 2 millions are what AI models have predicted. But of course, it requires human testing, like are they actually stable and sort of things. So, in your research on nanostructured materials, battery components, MOFs, are you seeing genuinely non obvious breakthroughs, or is AI mostly optimizing the existing chemistries faster? Like, is AI actually helpful in new materials discovery?
So the AI, definitely, AI is helping the material discoveries and also the search in the existing database, right? So you cannot do in the Bruce Force method.
Yes.
So in the AI can help you to search the database in the existing material. Sometimes existing nanomaterials we never explore for battery aspect or the energy storage. Maybe they use for them for different other applications.
Hmm.
So I think the having apply into the material platform is has been beneficial, and it advance finding the new material or develop some of the existing material and optimize their properties to get into the where we wanted to be. I definitely agree. So the AI has been helping for material discovery.
Got it. So, like, I read this somewhere. The holy grail of material science is to discover a room temperature superconductor. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. So, looking at the current scenario, and as you mentioned that AI is definitely helping in the material science discovery. So, do you think AI can help us get to that holy grail of material sciences?
Yes, definitely. And it can give you the can generate the hypothetical or the new material, right? And then that's eventually, of course, someone has to make the material. I think that's where the is a timeline, and so it takes longer time to develop the material and then synthesize the material and getting into the commercially scale. But definitely the way that we have been adopting AI programs and algorithms to find the material discoveries, and I think it is possible. And this my wish is maybe by 2030
Yeah.
and may have something that room temperature material discovered for superconductivity.
Okay. Nice, nice, nice. So, so far, like in your experience, because you are also a professor, right? So, in your experience and in your discoveries, if you can put a number to like, okay, AI predicted these many stable crystal structures or new alloys, and out of them, like, how many of you, like, human tested and then found out that they are actually stable materials that wasn't maybe humanly possible to discover them. Are those kind of aha moments that you had, like for the lack of a better word?
Yeah, so I think it's a couple of AI models that help to develop is the some of the high energetic alloy material, right? There are a lot of high energetic alloy materials has been advancing in the scientific community. If you take a look at publication records in high energetic material. So they have been alloys, different like partial stoichiometry, right? It's they are not like formulation is easy, but those has been advancing in this regime. So it basically, and then if you take a look at metal organic frameworks, of course, and this year we got the Nobel Prize for the metal organic framework. So we do have 84,000 synthetic metal organic framework that known in the database, but we barely explore them to use in the magnetism, so paramagnetism, superconductivity. I think the AI models that develop in this metal organic framework platform has been tremendous, and then you can actually search the existing database. So those are some of the materials that AI help to develop, like high energetic entropy material,
Uh,
and search in the database in the metal organic frameworks to apply them into different applications in example solid state electrolytes in the lithium ion battery, for example anode and the cathode materials. So those research has been done with the side by side with AI.
okay, 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 got it. So the database that you are describing, is it Like, how is it kept updated? Like, is it a central repository used by the universities of US, or like how?
Yes, there is a central depository and then owned by the UC Berkeley, and that's Dr. Yagi has been for the one of the Nobel laureate for the metal organic work. So they have been updating this repository, and also the Cambridge crystallography database has all the crystal structures of these materials that one can utilize to develop algorithms or the AI models to search the properties or create the properties with the optimized structures.
Got it, got it. So, like the Cambridge one and the UC Berkeley one that you mentioned, like, are they open source? Like,
Open source.
okay, okay. Then that's
They
great.
are
Like,
open source
yeah.
and anybody can access. They are open source.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. That's a great initiative taken by both the universities. Let's jump onto quantum computing for a while. So, quantum computers need totally different materials, superconductors, exotic stuff, right? Quantum takes over. Are we just swapping the lithium bottleneck for a whole new set of material problems that we haven't solved yet?
Yes.
What,
So
what are those materials like?
for the quantum computing, you need high magnetic material. You need the rare earth elements.
Uh-huh.
And that goes to quantum computers. So that's mean we are opening another supply chain bottleneck within and across globally.
Okay.
So yeah, so people talk about quantum computing, but you need the rare earth elements to get into the quantum computing. It's especially for magnets. So that's where the bottleneck and how you can get these rare earth elements for
Yeah.
magnets for the quantum computing.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, makes sense. So, currently, like if you were to look at the world level, like where are these rare earth elements available right now in the world?
So, again, when it's come to rare earth elements, it's the leading countries are one is China, other one is Russia, and then also African continent. So those are the ones that has more of the rare earth element deposits. And also the recently, if you take a look at like critical mineral leaders, so there are 10 countries and including India. So India has the deposit of rare earth elements, and then all other African continent, Tanzania, for example, those countries has rare earth elements. And US also has about 1.8 million tons of the rare earth elements in US. But then it is a mining and extraction and putting them into the commercial scale and the production is the that's where challenges that we don't have a domestic infrastructure developed.
Yeah. So, for these rare earth elements, like, is research happening on to
Mhm.
how to extract and how to better utilize them for quantum computing, like all over the
Yeah,
world?
so there are separate domain research domain that looking at the rare earth element extraction and refining and then creating the magnets that goes into directly into semiconductors and including quantum computing. So and there are leading companies that recently start in this in the so again, so they are either in the lab scale or the bench scale or the pilot scale, and the commercial production is really really low in compared to some of the leading countries like China and or maybe Russia. So those countries, I think they are the main countries that and Australia leading these rare earth elements exporting.
Okay, okay. So, like, the reason why I asked this question is to see if there is a scope of Minerva lithium in rarer earth elements or not. So, like, viewers watching this, if they are interested, then they can go and build a Minerva lithium for rarer earth elements. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we are looking into it, and because since this technology can separate it's a, if we successful separating cobalt, nickel and lithium from black mass or the recycled material, I think that's the path to move forward, and we validate that technology and the process. Perhaps Minerva Lithium could lead into rare earth elements because they comes with the very low concentration, and then they come with the hard rock stage. So you have to refine them, separate them from the other impurities and other minerals. So that's maybe the future.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, this is a revolutionary breakthrough. Whoever gets the minerals from this black mass. So, yeah, kudos to anyone who solves it because that's the demand of this age. Yeah, let's move on to the next question. Data centers are moving to liquid cooling for AI chips. So, most liquids are either flammable, corrosive, or terrible heat conductors. So, are there noble fluids or phase change materials from nanoscience perspective that could revolutionize how we cool AI hardware?
So the yes, and there are research that people have been looking into nano scale material development for instead of liquid cooling. Is they are either aerogels or they are solid state, and or they are in the liquid and the solid in the middle phase. So the most of this liquid cooling material are either, as you mentioned, they are ionic liquids or they are high flammable liquids. But now people look into more of the in the liquid phase that they can be solidified quickly at the room temperature. They are called deep eutectic solvents. And this is one of the people trying to in the nano scale, we are trying to look at whether we can use these deep eutectic solvents and mix with composites with the nanomaterials, for example, zinc nanoparticles. So, because they have a very good thermal properties and then heat absorption properties. So, those kind of materials people have been looking into. And yes, one of the novel is this deep eutectic solvents domain, and then people are trying to develop these deep eutectic solvents from sustainable, readily available like urea, choline chloride, and ascorbic acid, citric acid. Those are mixture of two organic material, and then they, when you mix it, they become liquid, but they are very high temperature liquids. So that address the flammability of ionic liquids.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's very interesting because, like, before I started researching for this podcast, I only had the idea from the news that fresh water is getting used for cooling down these like computing
Mhm.
systems in the data centers and as a coolant, basically. I had no idea about these different materials. So, yeah, it's very interesting to know because I thought, why are we using these limited freshwater storage that we have as the planet Earth? So this is very interesting to know. Like, okay, other coolants are also getting used. So Meta and Google are now using AI to design their own chips. So, could AI eventually design the materials to build itself, like better semiconductors, better interconnects, better thermal materials? Like you mentioned that from material science perspective, it's helping a lot, but like, is this possible? What's your take on that?
Yes, it is possible. I mean, you have we practical we exercised using AI eventually to develop the COVID vaccine, right? And less than 2 years, with less than a year, we were able to develop the COVID vaccine because of AI. So, and as I mentioned, rather than the brute force method, and so I can help and better develop if we develop better algorithms for AI models, language models, and it is possible we can use AI to develop the material revolution. There are a lot of research now driven towards this, right? We creating a lot of data centers, AI-driven data centers, AI-driven material hubs in US, and the national labs are on this game, right? So I that's in the future is rather than we designing the material from the scratch, I think the AI will accelerate the material revolution. I believe it.
Yeah, yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, if you could make one bet, not a wish or but a genuine prediction if you were to make, so what will be the biggest surprise about AI energy infrastructure when we have the same conversation in 2027?
2027 is not far
Far
away, it's
away.
2
Yeah,
years.
definitely. Yeah. That is why I asked because longer timelines they are harder to predict, right?
Exactly. So when we come to AI energy infrastructure and within the 2027, we're going to have again the conversation about grid capacity and the grid resilience. So I think people needs to pay attention and policymakers and legislatures and funding agencies and federal funding and all those they needs to think about how we can build the grid capacity and the grid infrastructure resilience. So that's going to be the discussion again we're going to have, and maybe the battery technologies can be advanced and energy storage can be advanced, but building them into the grid resilience is the going to be a problem.
Ultimate problem to be solved. Got it, got it. Hopefully, the Stargate project solves it to a greater extent, right? Because a lot of money is getting poured into that project, and a lot of land area is also allocated to that. So, hopefully, we see a better solution there. Like, as we talked about the Stargate project, that is of the scale of Manhattan project, right? That happened during the World War II. So, if you could assemble a Manhattan Project style team with unlimited funding, you have as many dollars as you want to solve one materials challenge that would unlock the next decade of AI, what would you work on? Would it be solving the battery problem or room temperature superconductors or something entirely different? Like, what's your one material?
So the energy demand is the main cause for all the global chaos, right? And everybody chasing on energy. So I would say if we had the unlimited
Funding available? Yeah.
funding, so it is solving the energy problem through better batteries and then also the room temperature superconductors. It's kind of that would be that more of the leading projects we should think about when then if the energy demand is able to resolve, so I think world will be in a better peace.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense, makes sense. So, as you mentioned about AI having immense potential in material sciences and material engineering. So, if someone is studying material sciences or material engineering today, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give to them for them to survive in a world where AI would mostly be helping us do all discoveries and everything?
Yep. So if you are a student or going to be in the material science world, so you have to be continuously update yourself and adapt AI to utilize better in your research and the material discovery. And so AI can be a great tool for your research, for your material discoveries. I think it's adaptability is very important. And then where are we going? That's without AI, and so you cannot anymore survive, we are moving to AI world, right? So that means you need to be adapt to AI and understand better and as tool, not just figure writing on it. So you can as a better tool to utilize for your research well. So I think that's my advice. You can use math in thinking to better understand and guide your research tools to have a better innovation. So that's my take home message. So innovation can accelerate
Accelerate. Yeah, definitely.
if you use the AI tools in better way.
Got it. Got it. So, is there a specific toolkit that you have as a researcher, or like that you would recommend to a researcher in terms of AI
So
tools?
I usually collaborate with the AI models, but there are a lot of packages and people have been using. My I always try to understand rather than using applying the packages, and I usually go with more of the concept base and developing the algorithms, right? I always ask students to don't use the packages and then see whether you can contribute developing the algorithms and into these packages. In my research, we always develop the algorithms and then we use those algorithms to run the models using these packages. So rather than you adapting the packages into your model, your need, think it's the from the scratch you develop the algorithms and then apply those into the AI models is the better way to understand the advanced.
Yeah, got it. So, just to clarify for the viewers, by packages, you mean Python packages or Python libraries, right?
Yeah,
Of that.
Python packages, other language model
And okay,
packages,
got it.
and
Mix.
so those
Okay.
are there are a lot of computational packages are available, and but it's constantly updating, right? And there are no it has been there. But my advice for researchers, when you use the packages, you need to ask, what's this package? Why you apply?
Yes,
What's your model? And what's your boundary conditions? And is this package is suitable for your research? Right? People using these packages for right without understanding and what's the algorithms behind these packages, right?
definitely. For this material sciences, like I didn't have much insight into this. I had to do a lot of research to ask you these questions confidently because I was never interested into these kind of material sciences and everything. So thank you so much for
Yeah, those are
enlightening.
very good lectures.
Yeah, literally. It was like for me as a the science lecture that I always used to avoid, but it was very informative and insightful at the same time. It wasn't like the boring professor lectures that I used to have. So thank you so much for making it interesting.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you, and let me stop the recording.
Okay.